Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera. For this week's episode, Megan thought it'd be fun to kind of propose a question to you guys. You guys can share your answers and we can just chat. So what was the question that you posted?
The question was, what lessons have you guys had to learn the hard way? So we'll jump into that later in the episode. Like always, we like to start off by just catching you guys up on our lives over the past week since we last chatted.
So much has happened.
Then, of course, sharing our weekly spotlights as well. This was kind of a big week, you guys, because we finished up our very last clinical.
Which is insane. Like now, you guys are watching this on the day that, well, we don't graduate on that day. We graduate the day after this is posted. So wish us luck. And hopefully I'll be presenting on that day that this is posted. So wish me luck on my presentation as well.
I will be done. But yeah, it's weird to think that the next time that we are in a clinical setting, it'll be
for work.
We're there for work and we're probably training or orientating or whatever.
Is orientating a word? Getting oriented. If you guys are curious, Megan and I have, we've not even really scratched the surface of job hunting, which we I think already probably talked about how, it's been a little bit of a crazy last clinical. So that was kind of put on the back burner, but hoping to jump into that soon.
Yeah. So we finished up on Friday. Ciera finally drove back from Cedar Rapids for the last time. She sent me a picture Friday morning. I was waiting to go into work and I was like, so is everything in your car right now or do you have to go back and finish packing after work? And she just sent me a picture of her whole car loaded up and ready to go.
Technically, I had to be out by 11 anyways, but before I even knew that I had to be out by a certain time, I was like, I am not coming back here. I'm leaving. And I had been packing Wednesday, Thursday, and then I put everything in my car. That still had to be put in Friday morning, and I got up a little bit earlier, so I had time to not rush. But it was interesting because I had to obviously keep track of Friday morning I had to get ready and eat, change, do all that stuff. So I had to make sure I didn't pack things in my car too early that I was wait, I need that.
And then luckily for me, I did get off a little bit early on my last day. That's fairly common for most CIs and clinical sites at lunchtime. So I'd finished the morning stuff and working with patients. That was all normal. I did bring in some cookies because that's kind of something I do. And then my CI is actually gluten-free, so I also brought in gluten-free cookies as well. And then I did a $25 Visa gift card just as a thank you for teaching me physical therapy in the acute care setting. And then at lunchtime, we ate lunch and then we went through kind of the final review of just we both fill out stuff about my performance. And then we sit down and talk through how I did and stuff like that. Ciera obviously did the same thing. That's just kind of making sure you passed your final and did everything you needed to do. That's expected of a new grad. And all of that went well. My CI and I had pretty open communication throughout. So there were no surprises or shockingly you did not pass your clinical or anything
You're
that.
Actually not ready. And you're what?
And the day before was kind of nice too because my CI was nice and they did pizza for lunch. They asked what I wanted and I was well, I'm fine with pizza. So we ordered Papa John's and had that for lunch. We did that the day before just because my actual last day, 2 of the PTs were gone. So it wasn't normal people that usually worked there. So we just did it the day before.
We actually did my final review on Thursday instead of Friday, which is kind of nice because then Friday I just went in just vibing. I was we already did that.
When we were doing mine, for some reason I had to bring my own personal laptop to the hospital because the form that you fill out, it saves to your specific computer. And so I brought my laptop and my laptop would not connect to the Wi-Fi there. And so then I was trying my phone hotspot, but we were in the lowest level of the hospital. So my hotspot really wasn't working either. So then we went to the hospital, kind of a walkout hospital. So we were in a basement, but if we stayed on that same level and walked down, you'd still you could see outside and go outside. So we went to a different spot and we were hoping that would fix it. And it was weird, the hospital guest Wi-Fi, it was full bars. I should have been able to connect to it, but it wasn't working. My hotspot still wasn't working. So then we had to go up to
I had a similar thing
a
happen
couple
with my
floors up
2-week
to like
clinical.
try and see if that would work. And then eventually the hospital Wi-Fi still wasn't working, but my phone hotspot did finally work. So we got it figured out, but I was just like, what the heck is going on?
When I was at UIHC, like my computer was having like the hardest time. It wasn't even like a Wi-Fi thing again. It was just like, I don't know why it's not loading. I tried my hotspot and it eventually worked, obviously, but I was like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm. So then once I finished doing that, my CI was like, you can go if you would like. She's like, I've never had a student say that they will stay for the rest of the day, but if you wanted to, you could.
I had a full day on my last day, which I was like expecting anyways, because I just felt like my setting that I was in, it would be like, I saw the same patients in the morning and the afternoon, so it's like, oh, Ciera dipped like after lunch. And so it was just like nice to finish out the day too. Like one of my favorite patients was my last patient to end things off, so it was good.
Anything else new?
We took the Pete.
We took the Pete. Yeah.
We did
How
it.
can I forget? That was one of the other last things that we have to do to finish things up. I have no idea what it stands for, honestly.
No, I don't either. Have we
Pete.
ever learned it? PEAT. Every physical therapy student has to take it. I think they have to take it, right?
I think so.
Before they take the actual NPTE. And it's basically like your program signs off and saying like, okay, you took the Pete, you're probably going to pass the NPTE, you're good to go. And we both did pass.
Yeah.
If this was the NPTE, we would have passed.
And so previously the practice tests that we had taken have been Score Builder's practice tests, and that's just a company that makes study materials and has practice tests that you can use for studying for the NPTE, which is the actual licensing exam. Mm-hmm. The PEAT is a previous licensing exam, from what I can tell. But the Score Builder's test had always been 4 sections because that's what is technically graded on the actual exam. However, the actual exam is 5 sections, so it's actually like 5 hours rather than the 4 hours we had done for the previous practice tests, because one of them is a non-graded section for them to test out new questions. And so this one did actually have 5 sections, mm-hmm. so I had to be in it for the long haul.
It's so hard when you're on like that last section.
It's so hard to like
exam.
Not think like, I
you're
just
like,
want to be done with
click,
this.
click, 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 click. Like that's what you're gonna do is just like be done. But I'd be like, no, Ciera, like this matters. You have to actually finish it out.
You don't know which section is like the one that doesn't matter, which is frustrating. But I finished that Pete in like 4 hours and 15 minutes maybe. I had like 45 minutes left, I think.
I think I had like 20 to 30 minutes left. I will say, I mean, obviously the nature of like I've studied the most at this point, but I felt the most confident taking this exam with like, I was like, oh, I know this one. Like there were fewer, I think, overall question marks
you were just
on
like,
my end.
What?
Yeah. I definitely still things I do have to look at for sure. Megan and I reviewed the exam together afterwards because it's the same exam. So we could go through the questions and there was at least 1 or 2 questions where I was like, I've never heard of this in my life. So that's fun.
Yeah. Overall, though, I am pretty pleased, and obviously we both passed, so that's step 1. That's good. But I'm also looking forward to, when I like taking tests, or when I take tests, I like to feel more confident or as confident as possible in any and all of the material and questions. And since I haven't had like the dedicated, super focused studying time, especially recently, like I had like a good schedule probably during my second clinical where I was studying a little bit more and more frequently, but I haven't so much this last clinical. So then I was really trying to focus on just like stuff I had not yet looked at in the textbook that we had for studying to like make sure I kind of had all the ground covered. But I would like to, circle back and look at some things again. Mm-hmm. Or there's been things where I have consistently avoided them and avoided going back, and it is time to not avoid them anymore. Mm-hmm. The Glasgow Coma Scale, I do not know why, but like
I do know it's 3 to 15.
I just looked at it like not that long ago, and I'm like, it is not hard. I can do it. But like for some reason I see that and I'm just like,
like impossible. Yeah. For sure, stuff that we have to
13 to 15 what?
No, it's 3 to 15 is the possible scores. I learned that. I don't know what. I know 15 is better and 3 to 8
is bad. 9 to 12 is mild or moderate or something, and then the above that is not as bad. And I know it has like motion, eye, and
like alertness or
speech. Yeah.
You guys care, obviously.
There's a lot of spinal cord injury questions on the exam, which I am fine with because once I go through and like review stuff, I'm like, okay, I will probably be okay with those questions, but I just hadn't quite reviewed. There's something called the Asia scale, which is used to help determine like spinal cord injury level, and I just hadn't quite looked at that recently. So
I get to that question and I'd be like, who knows? Who really knows?
Yeah.
So once we look at it, I think it'll be fine. But
there's also one question. So some of the questions will have pictures to reference or videos to reference or what have you. And there was one question about a golfer, and it was like a left-handed golfer, but the picture was showing a right-handed golfer. But it also said, it was worded in a way where it was like end of the golf, like so-and-so at the end of the golf swing as shown on the picture to the left. And I was just like, well, this is not even a left-handed golfer, so I was just like, what? Because then I was thinking too much about, if this is a left-handed golfer, how?
You're like, am I looking at this wrong?
Needless to say, it didn't really matter, but I was just like, it's little things like that where you kind of get hung up on things that probably are not quite as important. But yeah, there's also been one of the PTs that was at my clinical site. She was not my primary CI, but I had been with her a couple days here and there, and she just graduated. So she is like literally the class above us. And so she was kind of giving me some tips for like the NPTE. And so if you happen to be in physical therapy school as well, she recommended the NPTE clinical files with Kyle Rice. It's a podcast. It just like he talks about like previous questions and breaks down kind of reasoning for the correct answer or not the correct answer. And I've listened to a couple of them, and I think that it's something to try if you want something a little different. It's kind of nice to like reason through questions or hear someone else reason through stuff. So hopefully if there's similar lines of reasoning and other questions, you can kind of like hear their voice and their reasoning in the back of your head being like, that's why this isn't it. And yeah, because sometimes like it's just about taking the test and like figuring out what the best answer is, and not all like, it's not all just your knowledge. It's also about like taking the test well. I don't know.
I was like, I don't know where you're going with this either. Some other stuff that we did on our first like weekend break. So we hung out with our grandma a little bit, watched Captain Phillips. Was that the movie? I was barely watching it. I fell asleep during that. But what did you think of the movie?
I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty good. It's not like super new, but I think it's new to Netflix because I did see stuff about it on TikTok. So I don't know why it became relevant all of a sudden, but it's essentially based on the true story from like in 2009, these pirates around Somalia overtook a cargo ship.
I had no idea that like on that, like they had like a tiny little like motorboat to get onto the cargo ship. I was like, they're going to take over this cargo ship?
Right.
Is that what you thought?
No.
But like watching it, were you like, how are you going to take over this cargo ship?
Well, they had weapons, so I was kind of like, I could see how.
I know, but like,
because this cargo ship did not have weapons.
Which you would think that they would. If like,
I think it was like the captain personally didn't want weapons. Like I don't say them. I think when I was looking up, it was like they didn't feel it was necessary or something.
Okay, well clearly it was.
Like I would say that, because at first I was like, is it like just a rule that on cargo ships like they don't have weapons, because that would really come in handy in this situation, because it was, they had like, you know, a crew of like 20 plus people, and then it was just like 4 pirates. But they have weapons and the cargo ship people do not. So yeah, it was interesting though. it's not like the fastest movie ever, like pacing wise, but I do still think, like, I thought it was consistently interesting throughout.
The ending, I like woke up at the very end, and so like Tom Hanks's character had been rescued, and he was being checked out by this like Navy doctor or whoever it was, and just like it was so funny to me. Like she's like, "Are you okay? Can you hear me? Do you have this cut on your eye? Is it bleeding?" Like just the line of questioning was so weird. So
yeah,
I like looked at Megan and I was like, "This is weird, right?"
We also did a movie
anywhere
night
else?
on Saturday with our dad because he requested to do a movie night with us and then our older sister Haley. And so what did I see that made me think of Maze Runner? Or did I just think, like, did it just pop up?
I don't know.
We watched Maze Runner, which I hadn't seen in a while. Because at first I was like, we should watch a movie that none of us have seen before. And then for some reason, Maze Runner popped up in my mind. I was like, actually, we should watch Maze Runner. So we did. I don't know if Ciera was for or against, but she said nothing. So we just went with it.
I was watching it, and at the end, I've seen the movie before, so I was like, okay, whatever. I kind of like stopped watching. I really like don't care about it when they spoiler, but like they get out of the maze. I like don't care at that point. So I was on my phone. I didn't think we were gonna watch 2 movies, so then I was checked out by the second one.
Yeah, then once we finished watching the first one, my dad was like, well, that's it? Like, what happens next? And I was like, well, it's 3 movies. So we put the second one on. So we were watching that, and it was just funny because I had seen the movie before. Like, I know I've seen the whole trilogy, but like I don't really remember it that much. And so there were like some times during the second movie where I was like on my phone a little bit, and Ciera was on her phone like the whole time basically. And our dad, bless his heart, was just like, "Are you guys having fun? Like, I thought we wanted to watch a movie." And then he just like kept like apologizing, even though we were like, "It's fine. Like, we can keep watching the movie." And yeah, but
It was more so like, because then my dad was like really focusing on me because I was like the one who's on my phone more, and I was like, I didn't really like care that you guys wanted to watch a second movie, but I was like, I didn't want to watch a second movie, but I'm just hanging out here. So I was like, I didn't have anything else for us to do, so who might be like, no movie. So that was where I was coming
you just
from.
wanted like everyone engaged.
Trust
and so
me,
whatever
I get
it
it.
took.
Because when I'm showing, I mean, I've seen the movie, so it's like the opposite. But when I'm showing someone a movie for the first time and they haven't seen it and they start on their phone, I'm like, rude. I want to slap their phone away.
Yeah. What else? Today I've been trying to find dresses for graduation. I ordered one online and then I got it and I didn't like it. So then I returned that one. And then since then I've kind of been like, well, I'll just go like look in person. So like I went to the mall like literally already a couple days ago. And when we were doing Christmas shopping, I was like, I'll kind of look around for some dresses as well. And I was struggling, so I didn't find anything. But then today I was like,
let me go to the mall again.
okay, well, I for sure need to find a dress because, well, okay, I kind of like in the back of my mind, I have like a Reformation dress that is neutral that I was like, I could wear that if I needed to. And I tried it on last night and the straps were not super comfortable and I just was like not vibing with the dress combined with all of the cap and gown stuff. So I was like, no. And so then I was like, okay, so for sure need to find a dress today. No other option. And I obviously cannot order something online because it is too late for that. So then I went back to the mall today and the laps that I was doing around this mall, here's the issue I was running into, is that many dresses right now there's a lot of evening gown options, full length, because I guess more stuff like that's going on right now. And I didn't want, I'm graduating from like a professional schooling, college, whatever. I don't want a super short dress, which for undergrad is maybe more appropriate, but I was like not really trying to have a super short dress. So long options out because I'm not wearing a long dress with my cap and gown. Short, like shorter than I would like dresses out because I don't think that's the most appropriate option. So I'm kind of looking for, longer to midi type of options, which is already limited. And then second thing, lots of velvet right now. So much velvet.
It's the holiday season.
And then so much sparkle as well right now because New Year's. And I didn't really think that was super the vibe either. I was more just like wanting plain. And then also for graduation, I am someone who prefers a neutral dress. So any color was also out of the equation. And then I just felt like in the entire mall, they were so limited.
Did you try Windsor?
I did. I even tried Windsor. However, they had a lot of long dresses, a lot of sparkly dresses, not a lot of neutral dresses in there. Because I walked from the outside, I was kind of like, this actually might be somewhat promising. Because I tried Von Mar. I glanced through Dillard's at first, and I was like, I'm going to go look elsewhere. I went to Express. They really didn't have that many options at all. Where else did I go? I went to Shields. Surprisingly, guess what?
Nothing?
Like no dresses. Maybe 3 dresses
Who'd have
that
thought?
I found. And then I went back to Dillard's, and I was like, because Dillard's by far had the most dresses. I was like, there has got to be something, and I'm just not looking hard enough. So, and I was doing
up and down levels.
I was doing up and down both floors. The person working there had to think like, what is this girl doing? Because when I went back to Dillard's and I was finally like, I
it's
need
go time
to find something. I was so sick of being at the mall at this point. Did
you get any food when you were there?
No,
I haven't had lunch yet.
me either. So I started on the juniors floor just because I kind of feel like I know that one more and I'm less confused when I'm looking through there. However, like all of the dresses were like sparkly and just like not the occasion I was looking for, a majority of them. And so I was having a tricky time. I also already decided that at this point I was maybe going to get 2 dresses because we have actual graduation and then the night before we have like a department thing. But I was like, I'm just going to wear a dress I already have so I can.
What dress are you wearing for the department?
The one I wore to Grandpa's funeral.
Okay.
At first I was like, maybe I don't want to wear the same dress, but I was kind of just over it. So I was like, I already have that dress.
Yeah.
So you might as well wear it more than once, I guess.
Might as well.
And so I was down there. I was kind of like, I was trying to avoid a black dress if I could be picky, which I really could not afford to. Because ideally I just wanted something. I didn't know if I wanted white or more of like, ideally I was kind of like maybe like a champagne type of color, but there wasn't a whole lot. So then I was like picking through the black dresses and I saw one that I was like, this could work, but it was an extra small and that's not usually my size. I'm usually more of a small. So I put it in front of a dress and was like, I'll be back for you, maybe. And then I went
and then it disappeared?
Upstairs. No.
Oh.
And then I went upstairs. And then it was just hard because, like, upstairs I was definitely seeing more of, like, dresses that would work. They were very news anchor dresses, which isn't all bad, but I also wasn't like, yes, that dress. And so I was struggling up there as well. And I, like, neckline wise for some of the dresses, it were like, I just was like, nothing was all cohesively coming together in one dress upstairs. So I was like, back downstairs. And I was like, gonna grab that dress, but I was like, I need to find, like, I just need to, like, grab other options to, like, bring into the dressing room with me at that point because an extra small I was, like, really not sure about. So I needed other options. And then for some reason in those, like, 5 minutes, I found, like,
10 dresses.
like, 4 other options that I was like, maybe these will work. And then I went into the dressing room. Out of the dresses I had one champagne dress, and then the other 3 were black dresses. The extra small one was okay, but like they were cutting in on my armpits, so I was kind of not a fan of that. And so then I found the champagne one. I was thinking that one was okay. One was a long sleeve that was like just on the shorter end. I was like, no, we're not doing that one. And then the other one was a fairly simple black dress that there wasn't much going on, but it was fine and a safe option. So I bought 2 of them, and I bought a black one and the champagne one. And once I'm done recording this podcast, I'm going to go.
You guys will find out which one she wore tomorrow.
On which one will look better with everything on. But I at least feel they're both comfortable. I'm going to return whatever one I don't end up wearing, so it'll be fine. But I was just like ready to leave at that point. And I really had no other options, so yeah. That's my story about my dress.
I ordered 2 dresses from Hello Molly a couple weeks ago. Because again, I was afraid of running into this situation. Not to say you didn't prepare, because you did order some stuff online. You just didn't either order enough or the right thing. But mine's just like a white, basic, midi length dress.
See, and I even tried, because Ciera bought 2 of them.
You tried the other one?
That were fairly similar.
The other one was not very good.
I didn't mind it. Like, I didn't love it, but I also was like, I don't want to be wearing literally the same thing as you, because they are like,
it was like fraternal
they were
twin dresses.
basically the same thing. So I was like, probably not.
So I don't remember what it was called, but it was like pretty bodycon, like, you know, white straight across neckline strap. Yeah. And it was like thick enough too, where it's like, you know, some white dresses, it's like, be careful. This one was a little bit thicker. I felt like more comfortable, that it was more opaque. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Tried everything on this morning. I think it all looks pretty good together.
Yeah, I kind of have most things planned. Like, for the 3 days that we're there, we have to dress kind of like business casual while people are doing their presentations. So yesterday I also got that stuff planned out, and not that it was anything hard, but it's done. So I just need to like finalize my packing today and tonight. But otherwise, I'm so looking forward to staying in a hotel. Like, I'm going to bring a swimsuit, maybe use the hot tub, and I just love, like, a hotel vibe. So I am going to just, like, romanticize my stay this week.
I am also very much looking forward to hotel living. It should just be a pretty, like, good, chill couple days.
And I'm so excited that when we go back tomorrow, I don't have to do my presentation. Like, in some ways, it would be good to just have it and then you get it over with and you're done. But I do like the idea of not having to do it tomorrow. So,
and we get to like see all of our classmates. We haven't seen, you know, the vast majority of them since May. I think we've only seen I've seen 2 of our friends since then. You've seen 1. But it'll be fun. I feel like it'll be like, wow, it's really been 27 weeks since we saw each other.
We haven't seen each other since May. I have like a couple of pictures on my phone that I took of like our last day on campus there, like for classes and stuff. And I'm just like, I remember leaving there just being like, whoa, like, how did we finish all this? And now, I mean, it's not going to be the same because we're just going back for case presentations and whatnot. But it's just weird how
I feel like I'll be like back like I never left. That's what I think the vibe is going to be like. Imagine like us parking in like the Newton Road ramp. I'll be like, oof, here we are again.
We meet again. I'm also very much, my heart goes out to all the people who are taking actual finals right now, because this is the first time that we have not had actual finals. And while it hasn't been like we've been doing nothing, I've had like a case report and whatnot. I've been finishing. I am very happy that I don't have a bunch of tests that I have to go do, and instead I just get
one giant test about everything I've ever learned.
But yeah, I just remember for grad school especially, I mean, in undergrad I kind of feel like for our major, maybe not. In undergrad we didn't have like 2 weeks of stuff. It was probably more so just
usually just finals
week. But for PT school, it was kind of like you had 2 weeks of finals basically at the end of each semester, just with like last tests for other classes and then actual finals after that. It was just a lot. And so I am grateful to not be experiencing that. And when we're there doing our tests, the people like the DPT 1s and 2s are going to be in the midst of all of their finals chaos. And stuff. So we're just presenting, and that's not the worst thing ever.
It's literally only like 12 minutes of our lives. Like, they don't want us to even go over that. So I just need to practice. Like, the presentation itself is done. I just need to practice the words, which is fine. And I'm the second to last one, so no one's going to care when I go.
Everyone's going to be, like,
checked out.
They're going to be like, we have to ask questions now, too?
Yeah. Anyways, if that's all we have to go over, we can get into the topic of the podcast. So, question was what? I don't even remember.
What lessons have you had to learn the hard way? Do you, like, should we start with what do we feel like? Are there any lessons we've had to learn the hard way? What were they?
I mean, we can start. Do you have a good
lessons I've had to learn the hard way? I mean, nothing's been like, I learned it hard enough where it was like, bam, smacked me in the face and was like, okay, yikes. I feel like this isn't necessarily, I don't know if this is like the same token or not, but the older I've gotten, the more reflective I have been of just kind of what things are important to me, or like what really matters at the end of the day. And part of that maybe too is like with our grandpa passing away, I've just been more reflective of like, what is it that I care about? What do I want to spend my time doing? Not that I'm like, I don't know what that means yet, but I just am like, life is only so long. So I don't know.
We'll probably try and come up with some more stuff as we get going, but you guys are smarter and probably have better responses than we do. I'll start at the bottom if you want to start at the top.
Okay.
So I see someone saying, not every friendship lasts forever, which, I mean, Meg and I have related to, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to realize that, I mean, some friendships for sure end on a negative note if you have some sort of falling out or like someone did something to the other friend. But I think the harder lesson to learn almost is just like friendships come and go for no reason. And like, you know, whether it's time, distance, location, like all those play a factor. And I feel like it's sad to like realize that like one chapter closes and like, yeah, another one opens, but like you miss those friendships that like were once so strong.
Yeah. Especially I would say another thing relating to friendships is, in a way, I probably still haven't learned this lesson because I have not changed my ways, but friendships require a lot of effort to maintain, and I definitely don't put in probably like the effort necessary to maintain strong friendships, except for, you know, maybe ours, because I feel like that's a given.
Do you like ever relate to like, you know, I have all these like amazing friends and stuff, and like even if you're friends with someone, you can still have like a friend crush on someone where like you just think like this person like is the best thing ever, and you're like, well, I would ask to hang out with them, but like they're probably busy, or like, you know, they don't want to hang out with me. Like you get like these self-deprecating emotions of like, oh, maybe I like would ask, but like they're probably gonna say no anyways, so then you just don't. Like I feel like I fall into that habit sometimes, which is then me like blaming other factors for like not reaching out and like being a better friend.
Yeah. But like our closest friends right now are like our friends from PT school, but like again, distance has not been helpful, and I am not great at reaching out. So when there was the opportunity to possibly have like things stay a little bit stronger since May, when the last time I saw most of them was, then, you know, I didn't quite do that. Or we've done a couple like FaceTime calls here and there just like as a group to catch up and stuff, and every time we do that I'm kind of like, this was nice, we should do it more often, and then the follow through on that has not been the best.
Yeah, but I feel like it's also finding a balance between like, you know, that friendship hasn't ended, you know, sometimes you have to learn to like put friendships in a different light of like that friendship is still there, but it's just not as frequent. But like when we, you know, get on FaceTime, things pick up like, you know, right where they left off. It's not like there's any bad blood, negative feelings, like there's none of that. It's just we're all busy and like living our own lives. So I think it's also recognizing that while friendships may come and go, there's also just like friendships can change over time and you just make them work however you can.
Yeah. I'm seeing like literally 3 in a row of not to trust anyone, or don't be too trusting, or don't tell your secrets to someone who you're not sure is going to keep them.
I actually feel like I have never had to learn this lesson. You know what I mean?
Like, you've never had a secret that you've shared with someone like kind of come back to bite you in the butt.
I don't think so. Here's the thing. I keep my circles small anyways, but I feel like I'm usually a pretty good judge of character, so that if I'm getting close enough to someone that I would share something, like it's never come back to bite me, or I feel like I've never like regretted being like, oh, like, I wish I would have like never met that person. Like, I've been pretty fortunate to have not had that happen.
Mm-hmm. This kind of reminds me of, people have different thoughts on whether or not you can tell other people like stuff that someone else told you in confidence. However, I'm of the mindset where, I'm not going to act like I sit here and like find out the juiciest secrets from people ever, and then they tell that to me in like 100% confidence, and then I go and like turn my back on them. That's not the situation. But if someone like sometimes there's been situations where someone will tell me something and kind of be like, don't say anything.
Which in my mind is, don't say anything that this would get back to whoever it matters.
Right. And my circles are pretty small. If someone told me something, I might tell someone who like has literally no relation to the situation at all, like if it's interesting or whatever, and I tell it to someone who I have full confidence in that they will not go blabber about it to someone else to where it's gonna make it circle back around to the person who told me in confidence.
And you guys might be listening and be like, that's not good, which is fair.
I'm okay with that, but personally.
I mean, it's usually like us
like,
that we tell each other to, or like very close family. Usually like not friends.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If I were to like tell something to someone in confidence, I like really wouldn't care. Like, even if I kind of said like, don't tell anyone else. As long as I don't find or hear otherwise,
then how would I know?
It's not going to hurt me. Like, how am I going to know otherwise? You know? So that's kind of my mindset with that.
Our dad, he's so funny. He'll like tell us something, because he does this too with like us. He'll share something and he'll be like, don't tell anyone. And like, I don't even know who he's talking about. So I'm like, who would I tell?
Right. And how this just like, this wouldn't just come up in conversation where I would like talk about this random person I hardly even know who you're talking about.
Someone said, my mom is and always has been right. Is something that they wish that they would have learned sooner. My mom has been very helpful and enlightening throughout my life. So I definitely, like, if I have a question, many times she's the person I'm like, Mom, how do I do this? Do I need to do this? When do I do this? So moms and parents are great in general for just, I also
feel like even
getting the lowdown.
Beyond just, like, moms in this specific example, a lot of people that are around you and whose opinions you think highly of, and if you trust in their judgment, most times their opinions are worth considering, whether that's really anything that's going on in your life. But like, the first thing that comes to mind is like, when you bring like someone new around your family, like if you just start dating someone, their opinions and kind of first impressions, I feel like, do mean a lot. And a lot of times everyone collectively can kind of read a situation or a person and maybe have a better judgment than
you with your rose-colored glasses on.
Yeah. So, and even like besides, like, it doesn't have to just be like relationship specific. It could be other as well. But I feel like everyone has different things that they can sense and pick up on. And if you typically trust the judgment of other people around you, it's probably worth considering. And in certain situations, and honestly, people sometimes are like too nice or just like very nice, and like they will wait for you to come around.
Find out the hard way, yeah.
And that's because people don't want to step in and say stuff when it's not their place, which like if it's sometimes it's just things are meant to be learned and it's an experience anyways, and then you maybe talk to them after the fact and they're like, I kind of saw that coming, honestly, but
and you're like, well, if you would have told me, that would have saved me a lot of time.
So another one, someone said that if he wanted to, he really would, is a true thing.
I agree with this. I mean, like, again, I don't have a ton of relationship experience, but I feel like every like talking phase or whatever I've been in, if I've always like questioned stuff, like, I mean, granted, nothing has worked out like long term anyways, but the ones that I've really had to be like, is he interested, or like have like these questions like flooding my mind, it's like never works out. Like, if you will know he's interested and like not have any questions. And so like to me, if he wanted to, he would. Like, it's just right all the time. If you're questioning it, I would say fall back and find someone else.
I feel like I've really been taking this more to heart as I've gotten older, but I feel like I haven't really had like the opportunity to like actually see it in practice, because I've never I haven't been with or talking to anyone to even like see that come to be. But it's definitely something that like in any attempts that I have for dating right now, I am wanting it to be, I want it to be as mature as possible and skip any sort of games I might be playing. Like, I just feel like I am in a stage where like if I'm dating someone, like let's be a little bit straightforward and, you know, hopefully we're actually interested in each other. Otherwise, like, why are we doing anything? I don't know.
I just think it also makes things easier too from like...
Well, actually, here's where I get a little bit... I feel like you could still follow this, but also I would... Like, that doesn't mean like love bombing or...
Oh, for sure.
Or... Like, I'm someone who like, I at the same time as this am someone who wants to ease into things slowly. And we barely know each other at first. So, like, don't act like I am the love of your life. I'm not going to act like you're the love of my life. But, like, there should be mutual interest and intrigue and excitement towards who you're seeing if you're both genuinely interested and, like, see a future with that person. But at the same time, you don't have to go over the moon.
Mm-hmm. It's like finding that middle ground of, to me, it falls in line perfectly with like responding to your texts in a timely manner, asking you questions, like trying to set up times to actually like meet up and hang out. Like, it's just like being cognizant of that stuff and not having to like put the onus on you, like you're always the one setting stuff up or texting them first, asking them questions. If you're always the one who's like, I feel like I'm the only one putting in effort, then you are. And like, they're not that interested.
Yeah.
So, it's my turn to find the next one. Someone else said, life's not fair, but it's okay. Our dad, that's his favorite quote, is like, he either says, life's too short or life's not fair. Those are his two favorite quotes. And unfortunately, life is not fair.
Yeah.
I think it comes and goes in waves. Sometimes life blesses you with more than you deserve. And sometimes life is not fair.
Yeah. I feel like some things that in a weird way are like comforting to me in situations where like life's not fair is like thinking back on our grandpa and like losing him. Like, it's easy to say like life's not fair.
But life's not fair for everyone.
But it's also like there are so many people who like either get cancer or like so many people have other family members that like go through the same thing. And it's like, it's not fair to anyone.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm able to find comfort in the fact that that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think for every time you think life's not fair, you have to realize that, like, it's not like life is happening to you and no one else. Life is happening to everyone. And so some people are good at hiding it. Some people aren't. But I think you have to just keep in mind that whether or not people are showing that they're having a hard time or not, like, everyone's going through it.
Here's a lighthearted one. You need a waterproof backpack in college.
That's true.
That would be one.
I did learn that one the hard way. To be fair, our backpacks were waterproof. They at least said they were.
In college, like, you need a waterproof backpack.
It was raining for like 3 days straight, in Iowa City one time, and things were just
And
getting wet, and like it just
showed
couldn't keep up. So I had to like empty out my backpack and let things air out.
And then it's sad because like for the rest of the semester, like your notebook pages are just like
They're like
watered and like wavy, and you can't fix it.
Yeah, that was tough. Carry an umbrella in your backpack at all times. That's another lesson for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I probably like only a couple times. I guess there's a whole time that I didn't have an umbrella. But you had one.
And then she'd make me huddle her under my
Get an umbrella that fits in your backpack. One of those ones that, you know, roll up.
They're teeny tiny, but they
fit right in the bottom. Don't take up hardly any room. And then when it starts raining, you'll be like, no problem. You just pull it out and it's with you. So there you go. When I need a day off, it's better for everyone if I just take it.
You know, I
like that one. Sometimes you do just need a day off, like for no reason. That's funny though.
They're like, it's better for me. It's better for the people I'm around because you'd probably not be the most fun company to be around if you're not in a great mood. And sometimes like it's weird how you can just get in a mood like that for no reason, but you're just like annoyance level is like up to here. Can't handle.
Do you ever like notice you're in one of those moods and then you're like, I don't like that I'm in this mood right now, but then you're like, but I am like in this mood, so I can't get out of it.
Yeah. And then like any interaction you have with someone else, even if they're like trying their best to not be aggravating or annoying, but like you're just like, I really cannot handle any of this right now.
Whenever that happens with me, I'm always just like, I try to be a pleasant person, and I'm really not giving off that pleasant vibe right now. So like in my head, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm also like, I'm just annoyed right now, so I can't help it.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was happening when we were shopping at the mall with Dad. Like no one was finding anything, and I was like, Dad would be like, oh, like any luck? Or like this mall was also just so insanely busy. It was driving me insane.
Annoying. Malls are annoying. Malls around Christmas time are annoying. Shopping is draining, as just experienced and demonstrated by my dress story.
No one is their best self when they're Christmas shopping at a busy mall on the weekend.
No. Especially
I also like wasn't finding anything.
You're trying to find stuff, like maybe you're trying to find stuff for yourself, like we were shopping with our dad this past weekend. Or you're trying to find stuff for other people, and you're like, I have no idea what to get this person. It's just overall an annoying situation to be in, I think. Another one that someone said is you don't have to please everyone.
That's a lesson I should learn. I don't think I've learned that the hard way, but I do think like I could learn that lesson. Like I don't need to learn it the hard way. But I do think I am a people pleaser. I try to be like the person that I'm like, oh, like I just want everyone to like me. And that's just not possible most of the time, because I feel like to some extent, like to be your full authentic self around everyone, which you should try to be. I like, you know, could get better at that. I feel like because I'm in like that category of like trying to please everyone, you know, you don't become your full self because you're like, I want to be as like neutral as possible. And like no one lives in neutral. Everyone has like some extremes with their personality, whatever that may mean. So I feel like it's hard to be like your full self because then you're afraid people might judge you a little bit and you like want to stay in this likable category.
Or I feel like sometimes too, and this is easy to do and like it's not wrong per se, but like the persona that everyone kind of takes on when they're just like around people that they don't know super well, and you're just kind of like in pleasantry mode,
but it's like not who you are,
right?
Which is annoying to like get out of.
I guess the best way I would describe it is kind of like, I am not great. This is a me problem. I am not great at being genuinely interested in other people if I'm like not gonna like really talk to them or see them again, and like it would probably do me better and I'd have more fruitful and like honest and interesting conversations if I just, you know, stepped fully into it and like delved into like,
hey, we're entering a new year.
What is it? Like, what is it you're doing or up to recently? Like, I noticed this honestly, like literally at our own family Christmas get together on our dad's side, where a lot of it is like extended family that I don't see super often and I don't know super well. And I have family members who are pretty good at like coming up and asking questions and
being engaged,
being updated with
and
stuff.
you're like, we're just like in the background, like waiting to be approached if we are approached
and
at all.
And
like,
just kind of like, I recognized that I was not the one doing any of the engaging or doing a great job necessarily asking questions back. Like, if I am in that situation, like if someone's coming up to me, like I'll engage kind of like just as much as the other person is, but I feel like I could do a better job of caring and like
it would also probably
more.
like just be a good like life skill for both of us if we like worked on that, like engaging in more conversations with people you might never see again, because you and I could both probably benefit from just like learning how to like have small talk and converse.
Small obviously talk is really rough for me.
You know, we're gonna have to do it. We've had to do it like while I've been in clinicals, and like I've improved, but there's definitely still more room for improvement. So perhaps that'll be a goal of mine next year, is to just like work on talking to random people at any point in time. I don't know.
Yeah, I stay very surface level, which I think is fine,
but then
in many situations. But
I get so envious when I see people who like, you just know there's like those people that like they'll talk to anyone about anything, and like they're just so full of life, and like their personality comes through in those conversations, and you can tell like they're just being their authentic selves, and you're like, you can't help but just like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like right. I'm so envious of those people
who are just like, you know, everyone likes them. Like, how can someone not?
Exactly. Like, I just want to be that person so bad. Like, I'm not, but I get jealous when I see like those people just interacting and like having the easiest time ever doing it. Is it my turn or your turn?
Your turn.
Actions speak louder than words.
I love this one.
Are you gonna say something?
I mean, in terms of like, I haven't had to learn this the hard way, but I feel like it kind of reiterates the same. Like, this is the purpose of the thing we talked about earlier with like the if you wanted to, he would. Like, your actions are it shows follow through. If you have actions that follow the words that you spoke, where, you know, maybe you had intentions to do something, but if there was nothing to follow that up, then it really doesn't mean anything.
I think, again, like you said, it's in the same vein of the if you wanted to, he would. Like, are they actually doing, it's not even just like, again, romantic stuff. It's every relationship in your life. Do you feel like someone's always flaking on you, but they're like, oh, like, no, we need to hang out, like, or like, no, I can do like this X, Y, and Z for you, it'll be great, but they just like never actually do it? It's like, okay, you need to find those people in your life that are actually going to stick to the things that they tell you that they're going to do. And also, if you find yourself that you're not that person who like always follows through, I would highly encourage you to like either A, like step back from the promises that you offer. It's always like, we always learned in high school, under promise, over deliver. That was like a school to work thing that we kind of did, but it's true of every aspect of life. Always like do more than you say you are, because you're always going to
be on the receiving end of a situation where you're under the impression that someone's gonna be here, or you have this plan with someone, or whatever it may be, and then all of a sudden you get last minute canceled on or told that it's not going to work out. That's just never a fun situation to be in. And some people, like, it becomes a pattern, and then you really start to think like this person is flaky and not, like, it doesn't make you want to continue to do things with them or
invite them places. Because I imagine, like, same, like, say there's an event and you're like, oh my god, like, I will be there, I will for sure make it, and like, or if you say, I would love to go, but I don't know if I can, like, I will try, but like, don't count on it, then the person that you're talking to already has like this idea in mind of like what you've promised. And if you're in the first scenario where you say like, I'll be there, and you don't make it, then you're like, oh, they said they'd be here. If you're in the second scenario and they don't show up, then you're like, well, like, they said they like probably wouldn't be here. But then imagine they do show up, and the first scenario, it's like, okay, well, they said they're gonna be here, like, no big deal. And the second scenario, if they show up, you're like, oh, like, they really put in the effort to like actually be here, even if they like said they didn't know if they could be here.
Right. Or there's some situations too where it's not even necessarily like you saying something and then following through with it. There are times where like you can just do something or run this errand or go out of your way to be nice or thoughtful,
and doing it without expectations
to follow through on. It was just you doing it out of the kindness in goodness of your heart, because that's just what is right. So yeah, I think we kind of merged from what.
Did we?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for helping us out with your lessons learned. I think you guys definitely brought up some of my own, like, oh yeah, like I have learned that lesson in some sense. So you jogged my memory. Thank you.
If you guys enjoyed listening, make sure you rate the podcast on iTunes. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would really appreciate it. If you haven't ever tried watching the podcast version or the video version, give it a shot.
Maybe we have a lovely set that we're sitting in.
We have a nice set. You could give some. We're still awaiting any updates for decor, possibly over Ciera's head, but we haven't made any changes to that yet. But sometimes, I actually just watched Ear Biscuits for the first time in a while with Rhett and Link, and I was like, the video version is nice, and so maybe you'll think that way
try it out
too. Again, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you would like, because that helps us out, and it's a little bit easier to engage with like comments and stuff on there. So
also feel free to follow our Instagram if you want to partake in episodes like this in the future. You have to be following us there so we can let you guys know what information we need.
Or go follow our personal Instagrams so you guys can be ready to go like our graduation posts that I'm assuming we'll be posting tomorrow. So be ready for that.
All right. Well, we will talk to you guys next Thursday. Bye.
Bye.